The talk of the town, that boy got around, and the powers that be made him disappear. That'll work. Hey, this is Joe Gilder from Presonus, and today I'm going to talk about vocal production. This is actually the presentation that I gave at the 2020 NAMM show. So if you weren't able to come, couldn't make it to the booth, or maybe you just weren't even there, I wanted to do that for you because a lot of folks were asking for it. So I'm going to be showing a very quick kind of overview of how I like to do vocals, specifically using Studio One. So we're going to dive into that today. So really just straightforward here as far as the setup goes. I've got a track here. I've got this cool Roswell Mini K47 mic going into my studio live, and that's what you're hearing now. This is just through the X-Max pre's, and did a take of vocals. Now, there's a couple things to think about when tracking vocals. One of them is, how do you like to record your vocals? Are you, whether you're recording yourself or you're sitting down with a singer who's about to record a vocal take, what kind of preferences do you or do they have when it comes to doing a vocal? To me, there kind of falls into two camps. One is, let's just record a bunch of full takes. Let's record those to different layers inside of Studio One, and then let's go back through and comp those together. That's one way to work, and that can work just fine. The other way, and this is the way that I prefer a lot of times, is to sing maybe a take or two, but once I've gotten a couple of takes in and I feel really good, then instead of having to sing 3 to 5 full takes and wear my voice out, especially if it's a day where maybe we're going to record 5 songs, rather than doing that, if I'm feeling good, I want to have just kind of one master take and kind of comp along the way. When I say comp, the normal way of working for a lot of folks is to record many takes and then do compile them into a single track where you take the best of all 3 takes, for example. What I like to do a lot of times, and Studio One makes this really easy, is to never have the playback stop and to just simply, if I get to a point of a section I don't like, to just rewind and punch that in again. Or to sing a take and then go listen through that take. And if there's ever a spot that I think, I can do that better, just rewind a few bars and punch that in right away. Playback never stops. This is something that when I first discovered this in Studio One, I thought it was incredible. So there's a couple of things you need to know. One is I've set up a couple of custom shortcuts here to help me do this a little bit better. If you go into Preferences under Keyboard Shortcuts and you search for forward, like fast forward or rewind, I have hit a button here, okay. You'll notice that the forward bar option I've set to be my right bracket, and the rewind bar option I've set to be my left bracket. And then finally, I'm using one of the smaller keyboards, so I had to change the key. The shortcut for record is this /back. I never remember which one it is. The one that's right here under my backspace key. So what does that mean? It means I can take these 3 fingers, even if I don't have a fader port around and I'm just using the keyboard. I have 3 fingers right here. One on the left bracket, one on the right bracket, one on the /. What that allows me to do is I can hit the / to start recording, and then I can press it again. It'll stop recording, but playback is still happening. Then I can tap this rewind bar, and it'll bump me back. Every time I tap it is 1 bar. So I can very quickly go through, I can listen to it and say, that's not right, go back. And record. And go back. And I can do all of that right here. Of course, I can go and undo things with Command Z, which is a useful and handy tool as well. But that's kind of the workflow that I love. I do this, the reason I set it up this way is because I've been using a fader port for years. I've got one of the old ones here. I don't know if you can see it. It's one of the old original fader ports, but the new ones work even better for this, where I just use the transport controls, record, fast forward, rewind, play, and I just hold that in my hand or have it next to me on a music stand if I'm standing over there, or if I'm just doing it here at the desk because I'm feeling lazy, and that's my transport control. So I'll sing along and then rewind as needed to punch in spots that need to be punched in. Let me show you a little bit, kind of a hybrid of how that works and what that looks like for me. So let's dive in, let's do it. Let me turn on the sound so we can hear it. The talk of the town. I forgot to hit record, so. The talk of the town. Let me get that again. The talk of the town. That boy got around, and the powers that be. And get that powers that be again. And the powers that be made him disappear. So now I can just rewind, and I only paused it to talk to you. I can now just go and listen through. As the singer, say, hey, let's go through and listen to that take. If there's any spots you don't like, just wave at me. I'll go back and we'll punch that in. The talk of the town, that boy got around. Let's get that talk of the town again. The talk of the town. Yeah, it's just not great. The talk of the town. The talk of the town. I like the town, but the talk was a little weird. The talk of the town. See how that works. The talk of the town. The talk of the town. We can just slide that crossfade over. Nope. The talk of the town. Doesn't quite work. Let's punch that in again. Here we go. The talk of the town. Okay. I think I want that to go right there. Let's listen. The talk of the town. That boy got around, and the powers that be made him disappear. Very cool. So now if we go and look, just a very simple way of showing this. If I go pull down this little layer function here, you'll see we have two different vocals. The one I recorded right at the beginning, and then this one that we've punched in. Now what I'm going to do is create an all new layer, and I'm going to name this one comp. So this is going to be my comp track. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the two takes that we've done before, and I'm going to compile those into a single master track. Now, a lot of different systems do this. This isn't necessarily unique to Studio One, but the implementation is pretty cool. So if we just turn my phone off, if we just listen to the vocal, what I can do is I've got the overall vocal soloed, but then if I click here and here, I can hear the different takes of each one, and click back and forth. It'll automatically deselect the previous one and play the one in front of me. Let's take a listen. The talk of the town. The talk of the town. I think they're both a little pitchy to be honest, but I think I like this one better. So what I'm doing, I'm clicking and dragging over this piece of audio, and watch what happens. Boom, it jumps up here. So it automatically takes that up to the comp track, and I can just keep going and listening. So let's go from here. That boy got around. Okay, that's not bad. That boy got around. I like the first half of this one and the second half of this one. So you see what happened? It copied that and it copied this. Now, look what also happens. Automatically, Studio One knows that if there's any pieces of audio that overlap, it needs to crossfade them, and it does that automatically. So if we listen to this compilation right here, that boy got around. And now we can say, hey, that second half is a little quiet. Let's turn that up to match the volume of the previous one, and it'll sound seamless. That boy got around. Perfect. Let's keep going. Listen to take one. And the powers that be made him disappear. Little pitchy at the end. And the powers that be made him disappear. Kind of like that last one altogether, so let's just use all of that. Now, look, we've got essentially 3 different layers to this track, but they're all just under one single track. I can actually hide those, and we will just see the active layer, which right now is my compilation track. Now, the next step for me is I'm going to duplicate this. I'm going to leave this here so I can always get back to it, but I'm going to duplicate it into an exact copy of what I just had. And we'll name this one something like CONS for consolidated. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to close all these. I'm going to take all these layers here that I have. It's a bunch of different audio files kind of baked into one, and I'm going to hit Command B for bounce selection. You can also find that by right-clicking and choosing bounce selection from, I think it's the audio. Yeah, somewhere. Anyway, you can find it. And now I've got a nice, clean, single piece of audio. The talk of the town. But it's a little pitchy, so now what are we going to do? Well, as you probably already know, Studio One Professional comes with Melodyne Essential. Melodyne Essential is a really useful and powerful tool. I met some of the folks from Melodyne at the NAMM show, and they were talking about all the new versions that are coming out, and I'm excited to see about them. But at the same time, I haven't actually used anything more than just the basic version of Melodyne Essential that comes with Studio One, because it does what I need it to do, which is tune my vocal. So as we can see here, this is a big window. Let's make it a little smaller so I can show you a few things. The way Melodyne works is it goes through, if you've never seen it, it just listens to the audio. No, I don't open my browser right now. It listens to the audio, and it guesses as to what note I'm singing. Now, I can use the pinch functionality on my trackpad here to zoom in and out to kind of see it closer, and I can scroll around. But basically, it's guessing as to what I'm singing, and sometimes it doesn't guess 100% accurately. What I'm going to do is, before I select any of the blobs, I'm going to come up here to this little setting here, change the pitch center all the way to the middle, pitch drift all the way to the middle. Now, is that a little aggressive? Sure, but A, it's just to show you, and B, you'll notice it doesn't sound super tuned. It's not like a Cher effect or a T-Pain effect. It's actually still fairly smooth. It just pulls in those pitches. So now we can listen and watch and see how well Melodyne did at getting me on pitch. The talk of the town. Okay, let's listen again. The talk of the town. Let's see. So this one, I'm sliding up to the note. So a lot of times those need to be split into two separate notes. The way to do that is select it, it'll become red, and then hover just over the note, and you'll see the tool turn into this little splitter looking tool. Double click, and now it'll split. What I was hearing is this note is just me sliding up to the note. This note felt sharp. So I split it into two, and now it should be an F sharp. Let's see how that sounds. The talk of the town. Same thing here. You can see I'm sliding up to the note. This note is actually going sharp. This is kind of useless. So I'm going to select the note, hover up here somewhere, click it, and I'm going to pull this one down just a little bit. The talk of the town. It's pretty good. That boy got around. All right, right here. What I sang was, that boy got around. So it goes, ba, ba, ba. You can tell because this right here, ba, ba, bum. It got the first note, it got the last note, but it didn't quite catch that I sang that second one. Probably because I didn't sing it super on pitch. So what do? We just find that spot where I switch from the first note to the second note, which is right about here. Select the region or the blob, move my mouse up, and then double click. And see, this is actually closer to where I sang it. Because I sang it between two notes, it just thought I was still up here. So maybe it should be... Yeah, I think it's the song's in B minor, so yeah, B makes sense. Brown. That's more like what I was trying to sing. And this note is actually not an A sharp. Brown. Should have been a B instead of an A sharp. So let's try that. Brown. That feels more natural. Is that the kind of thing you're going to hear in the big mix? Maybe not, but it's nice to have it there and actually have what I sang. I've done tuning before for a singer where I wasn't sure which note was the correct note because it was kind of off pitch, and I just picked one, and the singer came back and said, that's weird. And so then I just changed it to the other one, and they said, that's right. So you gotta know what the vocal was supposed to be to get this done. And the powers that be. Okay, right here. All of these are kind of messed up. This one, for some reason, thinks it should be here, but it actually should be way up here. So we're going to find the part where it trails off. There we go. And we're going to just see how that sounds. Powers that be. And this should be more of a F sharp instead of a G. One great thing, if you are the singer, tuning your own vocals will really open your eyes to the ways that you're off pitch, so you can think about those and work on them. It's worked for me a lot. And the powers that be. All right. And the powers that be. Powers, that is fine, but this one's supposed to be straight up F sharp, and it tuned it to F natural. B. And the powers that be. Maybe not. Hang on. Let's separate these, because I kind of slid down to the note. E. And the powers that be made him disappear. E. And the powers that be. Oh, it definitely was right before. And the powers that be. And the powers that be made him disappear. All right, that feels good. Let's listen to it. I'll press S to take it out of solo. Let's listen to it with the tracks. The talk of the town, that boy got around, and the powers that be made him disappear. Maybe it's supposed to go down another note. F does not make sense. E. Oh, it's an A. It's an E. That makes more sense. Powers that be made him disappear. And this should be P. That makes more sense. There should not be an F natural in the key of B minor. And the powers that be made him disappear. Now, one thing you can do is you can, when you're doing that automatic tuning, you can tell it to snap to B minor. It automatically knew I was in B minor. Problem is, not every note I'm singing is in the key of B minor, so it will be wrong. So, for example, the talk of the town, it goes to that A sharp because I'm playing an F major chord. It may or may not have tuned that right, so all those notes would have been wrong. So I'm hesitant to use that feature. I'd rather just go through one note by note, and make sure it got it right, or tune them all manually. Either way works. All right, now that we've got this tuning done, if you open up your inspector window over here, using the I or F4 on your keyboard, down here at the bottom under event effects, and sometimes it can be hidden, so pull this up, you'll see this render thing. So when I have this region selected with something on it like Melodyne, I can click render. And what happens is it does essentially the same thing we did before of bouncing it in place, except I can always get back to it. So let's say I tuned it and I go and I mix and I come back the next day and realize I really messed up one phrase of tuning. I picked the wrong note, for example. I'm not forever lost. I can actually just come in here, select this audio, hit restore, and it brings back the Melodyne. I can open it up, tweak things in Melodyne, fix whatever needs to be fixed, then I can come back and re-render it. Now that's all well and good if you mess something up and can hit undo and go back, but if you're going and doing other things and come back at a later date, undo is useless for you. You need to be able to restore what's there. This allows us to do that without having to copy this to a new playlist and do all that extra work. And it's right there. Now, real quickly, let's make this vocal sound a little bit better and try to mix it just quickly. If the singer is packing up his things but would like a vocal to take home with him, we can do that quickly with something like the Fat channel. I'm going to use this FET compressor and get a decent sound out of it. The talk of the town, that boy got around, and the powers that be made him disappear. Sounds pretty good. Let's take a little lows out. The talk of the town, that boy got around. Nice and up front in your face. And let's send this to my slapback delay that I have set up in my mix template. The talk of the town, that boy got around, and the powers that be made him disappear. So in just a couple of minutes, even with me talking to you and explaining it every step of the way, you can see how this is a really fun and quick workflow. Whether you want to do multiple takes or do 1 or 2 takes and then punch in space and then comp them together, the workflow, you can change it to whatever works for you, but Studio One makes that super fun and easy, especially that I can fast forward, rewind, and stop recording without ever stopping playback. That may seem like a dumb little thing, but for me and for a lot of people, it keeps me in the music as opposed to coming full stop and pulling out of it and having to re-get in that space. It's kind of nice to stay focused and to get it done. It's a really fun workflow. You should try it. And then having Melodyne built in and then a bunch of great plugins that come right out of the box with Studio One, suddenly you're able to get a great vocal production suite out of your studio in a really quick and efficient way. So there you go. This was my NAMM presentation. If you were there, you would now stand up and cheer and throw roses on the stage. But since you can't, leave a comment. Let me know what you think. If you have any questions for me. And if not, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.